Okay, I'm with Carlos Aguilera from Perseus Energy, who's kindly agreed to give up a little bit of his time to give us some insights into the industry and what your organisation is doing. So, Carlos, just give us a brief introduction to Perseus and what you're doing.
Sure. So my name's Carlos Aguilera. I am the CEO of Perseus Energy. It's a Mexican startup. Basically, we have two leases in around 1.3 in the southern part of the country, both onshore. Our little company is out of Monterrey. I have an office in Mexico City and an operations office in Villahermosa in the Tampico area. The two blocks that we have, we got in May of 2016, and basically drilling in both blocks right now, so we're quite excited.
You mentioned how you use turnkey contracts sort of to begin with as you find your feet. Could you just explain firstly the key sort of components of a turnkey contract, and then what are the key criteria you look for in those contracts?
Very good. So I have 36 years with Chevron. Before I took this job, I was Vice President of Africa, Latin America. And when you have a startup, the difference of working for a major versus a startup is, we've got 35 employees. To actually run our own drilling new well, we would take 35 contracts, and we just don't have the people to be able to do that. So what you do is you go into it first with a turnkey contract, which costs about 10% more. So what you're looking for is the cost versus efficiency standard. So one of the things is I could go with the big companies and it could cost, quite honestly, 20% more. Or what I've done is I've used two Mexican companies, which are excellent. One is Grupo R, and the other one is GSM, Carlos Energy. And both of them, I've using them because, first of all, they're giving us a certain amount of financing. In other words, we don't have to pay till about 120 days after we produce. Secondly, they actually have experience in the basin versus a company from overseas that may have a bigger name, but they actually don't know the basin. So those two criteria are very, very important.
Okay, interesting. And so I suppose you spoke about efficiency, and what are the main risks that you need to manage when improving efficiency?
Right. So one of the things one of the block Tajon is a very deep sub-salt, 18,000 foot, 15,000 pounds of reservoir pressure, and going through this seal, which is a salt seal, you really have to understand where to put the pipe and how to actually put your drilling mud so that you don't get either influx or you don't frack the formation. Because these companies actually had experience in that basin, that's one of the reasons that I picked them, as well as the fact, their cost, and the fact that they would finance us for 120 days.
Okay, and so knowing the market well as you do, what are the unique challenges then that you see in the market, and how are you sort of using your proprietary technologies to overcome these with your partners?
So one of the hardest things is as you drill through the salt and you're going from normal pressure to higher pressure, is that I'm using a lot of, quite honestly, ex-Chevron retirees that have consultants that have been doing this type of drilling in the deep water Gulf of Mexico, sub-salt, as well as were in my team when I was here from 90 to 94. So a lot of that technology that we brought from Chevron, we're now bringing to this small company named Perseus.
Okay, and in this industry, obviously, partnerships are crucial.
Absolutely.
To taking projects forward. So when looking for farm-out opportunities on or offshore blocks, what are the three main qualities you look for in partner, and what kind of relationships do organizations need to foster going forward?
So, this year is a very big year for us. We're going to put both fields on production. At that point, I do want to bring in a bigger partner. And I'd like to bring in a partner that has experience, not just in this, but has experience in fractured carbonates as well as shallow channel sands. The partner I'm looking for is going to actually bring a second opinion to the geology, as well as improving now from my drilling. So I can go from turnkey to what's called contratos integral. In the contratos integral, which are really integrated contracts, my partner I would want to bring in who has experience in that, as well as giving me a second opinion on geology, and then finally, and of course very importantly, has a financial background to support us and be able to give us legway to be able to continue developing the fields.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And finally, under the new administration, there's a lot of uncertainty going forward. So could you describe it in a couple of words or one sentence, maybe where you see the energy industry in 12 months' time?
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you more than one sentence. So I've worked all around the world. I'm Cuban American, as I say. I lost my country. So I've been all around the world for Chevron, 39 different countries, lived in 11 different. What I find that's a bit disturbing is the small industry, the small independents, Mexican independents, we're creating a lot of jobs that Pemex would not create if it wasn't for our industry. Our overhead is much lower. And one of the things I'd like to see is for this government, which really is more of a socialist, left-leaning government, I'd like them to appreciate the fact that we are creating jobs that, quite honestly, would not be created if the reforma didn't happen. Therefore, I would like to see more fields open, more blocks open, so we can continue expanding and creating jobs that would not be created by Pemex.
Brilliant. Carlos, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Take care.